colleague from Oklahoma, Senator Tom Coburn, also voted against Sandy aid, but to his great credit, he is the more consistent of the two, today reiterating his position that all disaster aid funding must be offset by cuts elsewhere in the federal budget. His office said if an additional emergency aid package is necessary, Dr. Coburn will not change his long-standing position on offsets. There's now a real question about how disaster relief is going to function in a state with two senators who have been so outspoken about denying disaster relief to other states in the very recent past. Let's bring in Oklahoma State Representative Mark McBride, who represents Moore. And with me here in New York, I have Steve Ellis, Vice President of the advocacy group Taxpayers for Common Sense. Representative McBride, let me begin with you. What do you need there in Moore? What are your expectations of what the federal government can provide to help you folks rebuild?
You know, I don't really know. I was just in a motorcade with all of our congressmen and senators from D.C. They all flew in today, and I know that they had. I know Congressman Cole had spoke with the president twice today, and he assured him that he was going to take care of us. In what manner, I'm not sure. That's on their level, but I kind of look to them for getting that aid for us. I know the president did, I think, declare 5 Oklahoma counties. But, in Oklahoma, one of the things about Oklahoma is we pull together. I can think of $10 million just in the last 5 or 6 hours that I know that was contributed by some different oil companies and different things. So that's just the beginning. We'll step up to the plate, and we like to take care of our own, but we can also use that money, plus the House, I believe, passed a bill today. I wasn't able to get there today, but $45 million out of our rainy day fund.
Do you have expectations about how the Senate delegation from Oklahoma, if confronted with a bill that doesn't offset the spending, how would that play among your constituents if, say, Senator Coburn were to actually vote against an aid package that would help Oklahoma because it wasn't offset?
Well, like I said, I was just with them. I know that they're trying to get some funding in here, some federal money and some federal aid, and I just know the conversations I've had with them. I don't see them really voting against it.
Well, that'll be exactly the interesting test, because Steve, Senator Inhofe was comparing the Sandy aid package, and I want to say this to the folks watching this network, that part of what he said about the Sandy aid package was absolutely true. It did have a lot of stuff in there. Right. Some of it was mitigation projects, which I think are reasonably included. Some of it a little less germane to the disaster relief, but it's very hard for me to imagine a situation in which the disaster bill that gets brought to the floor for this disaster doesn't have a lot of other stuff in it.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly been the history. I would say that Sandy, I think because of some of the spending pressures and really a much more robust argument for offsetting it, had even less than I'd seen in the past. And I've been looking at disaster bills for well over a decade. But I think that, there's going to be a lot of pressure because these are part of the only pieces of legislation that actually move in Congress. So if you don't catch a ride on this disaster aid, you might not have anything to catch a ride on the rest of Congress.
You made this point to me when we talked about the Sandy package, which is that Congress is so broken, it's so dysfunctional that the Budget Control Act has imposed such intense austerity that if you have something you want funded, this is kind of your shot.
Right. No, absolutely. Because, if you look at just even the regular spending bills, we did a continuing resolution for the majority of the spending bills. So we just extended 2012 levels. There's not really, when you look at the Senate budget and the House budget, they're radically different. It's hard to see how they're going to be able to come together on any kind of agreement. So this becomes a natural vehicle, and it's going to attract flies.
State Rep McBride, did you obviously you've rebuilt before in Moore 14 years ago. How did that process work? I had read something today about how you just gotten back to about the same level of housing units, I think, after the full net was counted for after the last round of destruction. How important a role did federal or state aid play in that rebuilding?
Well, I wasn't here. I wasn't involved in that. My father was a builder and developer, and he was involved in rebuilding more. But you're asking me about something I just I wasn't involved in. I wasn't here. I don't know how the federal money played out. And I heard you guys talking about some stuff hidden in the bills and everything. Well, if you're going, Tom Colburn's definitely going to find anything like that, and he's going to vote against it.
Yeah.
We don't want anything. We don't want anything extra. We just want to rebuild our city, and whatever they can do for us, they can cough up, and whatever they don't, we'll make it up. That's just the way we roll here.
That's a lot of equanimity. State Representative Mark McBride of Oklahoma. Steve Ellis, stay with us. We'll be right back with Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, who went through that